vascular demand. We have a very famous vein surgeon in Western New York who has the vein treatment centers both in Williamsville and Clarence, Dr. Hratch Karmanoukian. And he went on a humanitarian mission with Dr. Jeffrey Meilman, and he brought a lot of students with him. And this was one of his goals on this mission. He said, don't promote my efforts, I want the students to be promoted. And with us today is one of the students who went with Dr. Karmanoukian to Haiti, and they helped donated 42 vein surgeries and another 60 general, plastic, and orthopedic surgeries. So our second guest is Virginia Kaufman, a senior physician assistant student at Damon College. A little more information because Dr. Karmanoukian wants the students promoted first. Virginia Kaufman has volunteered for medical missions to Haiti and the Dominican Republic. She is currently completing a vascular surgery rotation with Dr. Hratch Karmanoukian at the vein treatment centers in Williamsville and Clarence, and she worked very closely with Dr. Karmanoukian in Haiti. Now, hot off the press, we have a new book here, authored by Dr. Karmanoukian, called Heart Healthy Supplements. And right now it's being distributed privately, but I believe later it will be available to the general public and colleges and universities. Again, it's called Supplements for Heart Health, and Dr. Karmanoukian is a cardiovascular and thoracic surgeon and vein specialist with triple board certification in general surgery, thoracic surgery, heart and lungs, and phlebology. In '99, Drs. Karmanoukian, Bergsland, and Salerno were the first in the United States to perform beating heart robotic coronary artery bypass surgery. Very well-known surgeon with the vein treatment centers, Dr. Hratch Karmanoukian, and Virginia Kaufman, senior physician assistant student at Damon College. Let's talk about this historic trip. You went to Lacaille, Haiti, to the Immaculate Conception Hospital that has not had a general surgeon in that hospital in 7 years. What was this all about, Virginia Kaufman and Dr. Karmanoukian?
Well, it was a great experience for me as a physician assistant student to be able to take part in this mission this year with the Hope for Tomorrow and Dr. Karmanoukian. I was able to not only learn about surgery, but medicine in general and how to help this population. And it was a great experience. We helped as many people as we could. We couldn't help everyone, but it was great to be able to be there and be a part of it.
Dr. Karmanoukian, you donated 42 vein surgeries for people who have not seen a doctor in years or decades. Let's talk about the situation there. How dire is the situation following the hurricane and the earthquake in Haiti?
Brian, it's really interesting that we all thought that all of this problem started with the earthquake in Haiti, but in fact there's a problem with infrastructure in Haiti. I think the problems existed long before the earthquake. The earthquake compounded the situation and made people homeless, destroyed hospitals, destroyed bridges and houses and all the sorts of things that we take for granted here in the United States. So after the earthquake, it was just devastating. When you leave the airport in Haiti, you can see immediately what they call tent city, where thousands of tents are pitched. And if you drive into the city itself, where the presidential palace is, which is mostly demolished, right across the street you can see tents with flags of every country draped on the front of the tents. And the most prominent ones, believe it or not, surprising and ironically to us, were ones that were donated by the Chinese government. Although they have given very little in terms of dollars to that country, the vast majority of monies have come from the West and most prominently from the United States. They are using this as a campaign to promote their humanitarian relief. Indeed, over 8 out of the $9 billion that were sent to Haiti were from the United States, but the rest of the countries, including some of the Middle Eastern countries, have sent very little. So I think overall it was a devastating thing for the people of Haiti. The hospital and the hospital systems in the areas where we were had survived, but they had also suffered from the consequences of not having physicians even before the earthquake, and the ones that were there had gone to do emergency cases in Port-au-Prince and the bigger cities where much needed emergency care was needed by the people that needed it. Sounds redundant, but that's basically what was happening there.
Let's talk about the impact you had. I understand that you only were involved with 100 surgeries that you could perform with Dr. Meilman, Dr. Kotlars, Dr. Hupschmann, Dr. Anders, Dr. Smolinski, Dr. Barsumian. You could only perform about 100 surgeries with 7 surgeons, and 200 people were sent away because that's all you could handle in 4 days. How was the reception of the people? What did it mean to them, American doctors coming after the earthquake and helping? How did they feel? What was the gratitude?
Basically, what I think my part and our parts as surgeons was not as touching as the part with the students, because they had to go out there and triage patients, believe it or not. So I'm going to let Virginia talk about that or address that, because it's easy to operate on people. You know, we screened some of them, but there were a lot of people that needed much needed urgent care that we couldn't provide. So we had to triage the situations where people needed surgery more urgently than others. But Virginia can give you her perspective, because she and other physician assistant students and physical therapy doctoral students were out there talking to the people, and some points there were some riots out there in terms of the local authorities and the hospital director calling police to come and get some kind of or semblance of control as to who could have procedures and who couldn't.
It was eye-opening because there were many people there and we couldn't help everyone, so it was heartbreaking to tell some of the people there that we couldn't help them because there wasn't enough time for us to take care of them. And I think that's what really touched me, that here in the United States, there's not that many people that are turned down with health care, and that's something that I learned to appreciate going on this trip. And a lot of people that were out there, it really hurt to tell them, we can't help you, we're sorry, we have to leave, there are other cases that are ahead of you, there's people that need it more than you do at this point. But very eye-opening to see their reaction, because everyone did want to be treated by us, and it was devastating for me as a student to have to see that.
For those who just tuned in, you're listening to AM 1520, blanketing 17 of the United States and much of Canada. The station has received letters as far away as Scandinavia and New Zealand with our 50,000 watts of clear channel power. If you're listening in northern Florida, Washington, Buffalo, or Montreal, drop us a note. Please write to Brian Rusk, AM 1520, 500 Corporate Parkway, Suite 200, Buffalo, New York, 14226. We always read cards and letters from our Canadian and European listeners.